Today, we all in Louisiana with it. We're going through the home buyer programs for first-time home buyers and investors. That's right, New Orleans. That's right, Baton Rouge. Everywhere in Louisiana, I'm going to show you all of the home buyer programs that's available in your state this episode. We're going to talk about the DSCR loan for investors. And for the first-time buyers, I'm going to show you how you can get no down payment on your new mortgage. I think you guys are really going to enjoy Jeff Johnson and the Revolution Mortgage team. Tap in Money Talk Mondays. Let's go. What's going on? What's going on? How y'all feeling today? It's your host D Saw with another episode of Money Talk Mondays, where we talk about our real bag, and that's the way we feel and the way we think about our money. And today, I'm bringing on one of the most, I can't even begin to describe how much I respect this guy. He's in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's a mortgage lender. He was actually the first person I ever closed any real estate transaction with, y'all. I want to welcome on Jeff Johnson and the Revolution Mortgage team. How y'all feeling today?
Well, great, man. Appreciate you having us.
No doubt, man. How's everything going over there in Louisiana?
Oh man, we good. Rates are high, insurance a little high, but we making it. We getting through it. It's challenging, but we just got to make it through and get everything done. I mean, there's a lot of good deals, a lot of good programs out there, but it's just getting creative to make it happen.
Gotcha. Nah, no doubt, man. But you the man for the job. You one of the ones that still kind of survive through any storm. You're able to close deals still throughout, whatever's going on in this market. So it's good to be in that type of position. And you probably wouldn't be in that type of position if you didn't have the team that you have. That's one thing that I always admired about you and your business, your structure, is how you have Megan and Colleen playing their parts and they do it so well. Do you mind introducing your team to my audience?
No, not at all, man. You got Megan up there, Megan Parenti.
Hey,
She's like kind of like the office manager, processor type. She kind of does everything. She keeps everything rolling, making sure we're on schedule. And CP, that's Colleen. She's kind of keeping me in order. She's kind of my kind of everything kind of chick, like hammer me when I need to call people back because I told them I'd get to it an hour ago and I didn't, and we're running a little bit behind. So she makes sure we're on time, getting back with everybody, tracking, man, just tracking the whole thing. Megan kind of runs the day to day once people are under contract, and Colleen would kind of run everybody and me for when they're out there looking, getting pre-approved. So Colleen would be more like that front end, handling all the leads, making sure everybody's happy on the front end. And then once you're under contract, Megan will kind of handle everything from there. With kind of Colleen will help too on that part, but mostly Megan will be that back end once you get under contract kind of girl.
Oh yeah. They both do so great. I actually, Colleen, if you ever apply, by the way, guys, if you listen to this message, if you ever apply with Revolution Mortgage, you're probably gonna hear from Colleen a little bit more than you hear Jeff. I mean, Jeff is the man behind the numbers, making the deals work, making it go through. Megan is the processor that's just handling all of the files, all of the paperwork, and Colleen is just the one that's really getting it done. So if you work with me, and you hear me speak about Colleen, then you're dealing with the Jeff Johnson team. She's just the face of it, y'all. All right, man. So one thing that's been super big in Louisiana, I think even some of my clients have been experiencing it in Florida as well. Is the insurance and how the spike has really affected some of the mortgage prices, man. What are you seeing, Jeff, about the insurance in the market
Man,
right now?
you know, insurance is probably worse than rates, right? Like a 1-2% interest rate more, you could cost yourself, a couple $100, a year, maybe $100 a month or $50 a month. But when you get insurance, I mean, we're looking at, I would say before back in 2020, 2021, we were seeing on an average home insurance under 3 grand, right? Now, if you're buying a duplex or a 3, 4 unit, I mean, we're seeing it 8 grand a year. If you're buying a single family home, $300,000 or lower, sometimes it's still 5 grand a year. So I would say insurance has doubled, tripled, quadrupled. That's kind of been the biggest challenge. But we are seeing a little bit better news. Like October 1, we had a couple carriers come back out. They're not, as cheap as they were, but they're a lot better. Um, and man, I was doing this when Hurricane Katrina hit. We had the same thing. Everybody quit writing for about a year or two, and then as time went on, insurance came back and things got a lot better. I just think we need, you know, more time. Maybe, we're seeing it better than it was, but we need, every year if we can get back where, there's not a hurricane or not a storm that creates a lot of damage, year after year, we're going to get better and better. And that's kind of happened with Hurricane Katrina. And we had that long, long run where insurance was great, and really affordable. And now we're kind of just back to where it was like after Katrina. Like history will always repeat itself, and hopefully we see that same pattern in things going down like we are. So it's getting better. It's just not great.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. But the
Yep.
good thing about that for all of the listeners out there, insurance and as well as interest, and we're going to talk about that in a second as well. These are variable costs. When insurance go down, you could get new insurance and then it'll bring your actual mortgage down. So the mortgage principles are not changing. The things that fluctuates and make the payments a little bit higher are interest rates and insurance and taxes and things like that that makes your payment goes up and down. Your principal actually stays the same. So while we're talking about that and interest, what are you expecting for the interest to do, these rates to do for the end of this year and the beginning of next?
Man, kind of above, I'm no economist. I can kind of just go off of what we pay a lot of, we pay money to have
Mhm.
people tell us what they think. And pretty much everybody's been wrong, right? Like, a lot of people were saying at the end of the year, once inflation goes down, we're going to see rates back in the fives by year end, which would be year end now, 2023. But inflation has gone down from say a year ago, but rates have not really responded well. They're higher than they ever been. Like today, I think I seen today on CNBC, rates hit 8%, highest we've seen since like whenever that was 19. I forget the actual date, but we're really really high in like my 21, 22 year career. It's probably one of the higher times I've seen. Um, and where we're going, I mean, most people think 2024 will be back down, maybe to somewhere in that 6% range. Going into 2025, people are saying we'll be in the fives again. So I just think more than rate, we just have to get back to, we can't control rate, we can't control insurance. The only thing we can control and that we're seeing is we're telling our clients, and this way better than me, like we're telling people like get off the sideline, make a few offers. Like now, I wish I was a buyer. Like go ahead, lowball people if you have to. Just get in the game because like if you buy now, we had a client, real life example. There was a home for 300 grand in Metairie, Louisiana, right where we're at. She offered 250. Back in 2020, $50,000, they probably wouldn't even called you back.
Oh,
Dude, they
for real.
countered her back at 10,000 more than, so they came off 40,000 and it wound up not working out because, she wasn't, she still didn't like the payment on it. But I was shocked and that kind of told me one thing. I'm like, man, we need to go to our people, everybody approved and say, look, now's the time. Like, because if you buy now, like if that lady would have bought, 40, 50,000 under the appraised value, Then when you go to refi next year, you got $40,000, $50,000 in equity, and then you're refining when everybody's trying to buy. And now you're in a better situation because you already bought, you already gained your equity. Now you're just going to get that lower rate for what everybody else is doing. So you kind of beat the game, you know. We just think now, you know, get with people and educate them on their payment, knowing that, hey, if you can afford to now, it's a great to buy now, it's a great time.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I try to educate as people as much as I can, but that's one thing I've been telling people, right? If you look at a market like 2020, you had a bunch of buyers flooding the market. You had a bunch of buyers that's basically raising the prices of all of these properties. Yes, the interest rates were lower, but in a lot of cases, people were paying $25,000 over asking price. And if you ask me, the name of the game with real estate is to get a good investment, right? We want to create
Hmm.
equity. We want to create positive equity. And if you're buying prices that's above market value, then you don't really have equity and you don't have much value. So now this market is the opposite. You have way less buyers, so you're able to get deals under asking price. Now, when you buying a property, regardless of what that interest rate is, you're able to get equity built into the purchase as soon as you buy it. So in a lot of
Right.
cases, I have buyers, maybe get 20, $30,000 off asking price. That's a time where they're going into a mortgage already $30,000 richer because that's the equity that's baked into the loan already. So
Yep.
don't let interest rates scare you. Don't let it scare you because at any time it can change. It can go back down. Let's just consider the rates right now as the new normal because we never know when these rates will go back up or down. So it's never a right time. It is never a wrong time. So just buy whenever you feel ready. And we have an awesome new program that we want to talk about for people that want to take advantage of, the market not being as heavy as it was in 2020.
Hmm.
But before
Yep.
we begin, this video is sponsored to you guys by Credit Repair Hacks. Credit Repair Hacks is one of the world's first AI digital credit repair softwares. You're able to repair your credit from your phone. This is right on time for all of you out there that's thinking about buying a home. You can use Credit Repair Hacks to go ahead and build your credit. So whenever those interest rates do drop, you're right there with a better credit score. All right. So let's talk about this program. So you guys have a program that people don't have to pay anything down for this loan. Tell me about this program.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple, right? So it really depends on, you know, income, credit, all that good stuff. But in general, I tell everybody, look, if you're a first time home buyer, um, even if you're not a first time home buyer, even if you make a decent amount of money, there are programs to get you in with limited to no money down. So the state of Louisiana has a great program. They have two, right? One, it'll get them in. We call it 100% financing because basically you're not putting any money down. Technically, you know, they'll give you the down payment up to 4%, and that can help you either pay the down payment or closing costs. So if you're already doing 100% financing loan, it'll give you closing costs. Or if you need to go into like an FHA 3.5% down program, it'll give you the down payment. Therefore, you're at 100% financing. So um, really good program. Right now, at this point, today, that program had lower rates by about a half a point lower than a market rate. So,
Mm,
meaning that you can, even if you had your own down payment, you could get this program. They could give you the down payment and you'd get a better rate than
wow.
somebody that had their own down payment. So, it's really a no brainer. Um, that program, you know, you need a 640 credit score. It's very, very liberal on the credit score. You don't have to have a perfect situation, but I would say we've been utilizing that program a lot, a lot, a lot, because it'll help people get in, which is one of the main barriers to home ownership, which is down payment. You know, so
Right.
that would no longer an issue. You know, for a lot of people.
Gotcha. So if y'all hearing it out there correctly, you can get this product, and it could, if you have a FHA loan, right? If you don't have, like, some loans out there, like the USDA loan, if you're a VA, you have a VA loan, you're able to get 100% financing, which means no down payment. And even if you have, let's say, a FHA loan, this program that he's mentioning gives you 4% of the purchase price. So your FHA loan is only 3.5%. So out of 4% is going to pay that, and you have a little bit left for a little closing cost. And in this market right now, like we were saying earlier, sellers have to sell, and there's not that many buyers out there. So if you get an agent like me, we can quite literally negotiate the seller to pay your closing costs. Me and Jeff just closed on a deal 2 weeks ago where the seller paid $14,000 of our buyer's closing costs, y'all. So this is the market to where you can wheel and deal a little bit more, and now you have options like this 100% financing loan that you can take advantage of. So, Jeff, is this different from that first responders? I have a couple of first responders that's been reaching out to you about a program. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yep, yep. It is different. And the cool thing is about this one where I throw income out, but it depends on, the parish, this, where you're at. Each parish will have a different income limit by a little bit, right? So in general, they call it the keys for service, right? And that program is for teachers, medical professionals that work in a hospital, police, firemen, EMS, all that anybody that would be considered a first responder, plus teachers and all that support staff. It has higher income limits. So like where, the one program, we have one bond that's great that we were just talking about, one down payment assistance program we were talking about, the income limit may be 82, but say you have like it happens a lot with the New Orleans Police Department where they may have a detective and they make they get a little bit overtime and they have a higher salary, like that may put them out of the one program. So you go to the first responder program and the income limit's like in that 125 range. So it's a great program, a little bit higher interest rate than the regular, but it's still almost the same as market rate at this point. And it allows them to get in with no money down, with a higher income, and with a really good interest rate too.
Gotcha, gotcha. So what down payment, like, are they getting their down payment covered, or are they just getting a
Yep.
bond? How's that work?
So it's similar to the other program where you could do an FHA loan, and if you like, what we do is we look at the loan profile, we figure out what's the best loan program for them. So if it's a USDA where they don't need a down payment, we would take that money, the 4% they give you, use it for closing costs. Or if they need like a conventional loan where 3% would be required down, or FHA where 3.5 would be required down, this program would bridge the gap. It gives them 4%, so all of their down payment and a little bit of money for closing. That way, they come up with as least money as possible. There'll be no money for the down payment. Now, whether you get the seller to pay closing costs and all that stuff will determine if you need money or not.
Gotcha, gotcha. Like I said, y'all deal with agents like me. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my horn or anything, but the right negotiator will get those closing costs paid. And in some instances, if you don't have a down payment and you get your closing costs paid, there's a chance that you can get money back at the closing table. So definitely would look into some of these products. The other program that I wanted to discuss with you was this DSCR loan for investors. Now,
Hmm.
with a lot of buyers, they are, shying away from buying right now because they're trying to see what interest rates going to do. This is prime time for all of the investors. This is the time
Hmm.
where investors are eating. They're going to get properties a lot lower than asking price. And now they're able to use a program like this DSCR loan that can help them really get more properties. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal program. We've been doing a ton of them lately. DSCR is a fancy term that says debt service coverage ratio. All it means is does the rental income cover the mortgage payment? And there's different factors. Like the higher the rental income relative to the mortgage payment, the better rate you get, the lower down payment you get, all that good stuff. The right ideal client for that is any investor that may have a lot of write-offs where they had a tough year where they're not claiming, they don't have as much money on their tax return. Any situation where you can't show a tax return or you want a quick sale, you don't want to provide all your documents, all we look at is credit score, assets, so how much you can put down, and basically the appraisal. It's phenomenal, man. And I mean, the rates are higher, but compared to what commercial rates are at commercial banks around here, like we're seeing commercial bank rates, even if you had all your documentation, like almost 10%, you
Mm,
know? So with this program, we quoted a guy yesterday. He was putting a big down payment down, and I think he was somewhere in the high eights. Now we quoting others that are in the mid nines. You know, you could be in the tens, and all of that will depend on how good your profile is, other than your income, right? The better the credit, the better the rate. So it's a phenomenal program to get people in that they don't want to show their paperwork, but they want to get in the game. It's a really good loan that we're doing more and more of. Even people that have great tax returns, they're like, man, for the difference in rate, I'd rather just go with that and not have to show all my income. You know,
right,
really good
right.
program.
So you're able to get approved without showing all of your like W-2s and tax returns. You don't really have to, as long as the deal right, the cash flow from the property is right, you don't necessarily have to show all of these documents. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Correct. Yep.
So it sounds like it'll be good for maybe self-employed, entrepreneurs that don't really have like a steady one way of they're making money, but they're making money and they have the assets to
Hmm.
prove it. They're able to use this to buy investment properties.
Ideal for them. That's who it's geared for. Self-employed people. You know, if you're a W-2 employee where you could show everything and your income's easy, you would probably do a conventional loan. But in some situations, those people, no matter what, they do this particular product, you know?
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah. So if you're an investor out there and you've been thinking about investing and you've been having a hard time with finding, tax returns, W-2s, things like that, this could be a way for you to get into the game with a very solid program. So if you're interested in that, y'all just let me know or shoot a message to Jeff. We're gonna leave their contact information at the end of this video. If you're listening on this podcast right now, I'll leave it in the description. I appreciate everybody for tuning into this episode. So the last thing that I wanted to ask you, we get a lot of questions from first time buyers a lot. If I had to ask you, what would it takes for a first time home buyer from the time they say, "Hey, I'm ready to buy a home," or "I want to be ready," to actually closing? What steps or recommendations would you give that first time buyer?
We suggest that you give it time. Like if you're thinking about buying within even the next 5 months, I think you get pre-approved because student loans could pop up, medical collections can pop up, all the things that know more than anybody in a lot of situations where things pop up in the longer time frame you have to get it repaired will make you buy quicker and make the process go a lot smoother. If you find a home and then you're like, oh, I want to put an offer in, then we pull your credit, and then you got,
Mhm.
some kind of judgment or collection where you're impacted, then we're behind the eight ball. Like we can't let you put an offer in if you're not pre-approved. So it's very important for people to give a fair amount of time. It's not going to kill your credit by having an inquiry now and 5 months down the line. I mean, I don't think that is a huge issue. I would tell people, if you're thinking about it anytime soon, the sooner the better. You know.
Exactly. I agree 100%, man. I tell buyers all the time, and it sucks when they don't follow my advice and they find out the hard way. But it's a lot more that actually goes into that credit score, the amount saved, down payment, DTI, all of that. So the easiest thing for anyone to do, if you're thinking about buying a home within 6 months to a year, apply for the mortgage, right? Let the lender tell
Agree.
you, hey, this right here needs addressing. You need to do this. Get an estimate. See what it feels like. See what this new payment will feel like. What adjustment do you need to make in your daily routine to be able to afford this payment? Make it real. Apply for
Yeah.
the application. Get a step-by-step plan, right? And then once you get a step-by-step plan, now you have something concrete to work towards versus just saying, "I'm working on buying a house. I'm
Hmm.
working on doing this." No, it doesn't really work like that. Get actual professional recommendation. Let them give you a script. I know Jeff and Colleen a lot of times will tell people, hey, work on this, work on this, work on this, right? And then you'll
Yep.
be
Yep.
ready in 3, 4 months. So now when you come back and you see that house that you like that pop up, now you don't have to go through the hoops and hollering of credit and saving because you've started that already. Now you see a house
Absolutely.
you
Yep.
like, put the offer in, now it's yours. So that's very, very solid advice. I appreciate that. Now before we end, I want some participation from everybody. I want to hear one thing or one reason why people should choose Revolution Mortgage over the competition, and I want to hear one thing that you're grateful for. It can be big or small. Let's start with you, Colleen.
Mhm. Okay, why people should choose Revolution Mortgage is because of our team. Absolutely. You touched on that in the beginning. So Jeff has been a loan officer for a long time. So he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of, and he'll tell you if he doesn't know the answer to something, he'll find the answer. He has a lot of resources, so he's really great at, figuring out how to make things work for people. Megan's the best at what she does, the best processor. She's super methodical and she's really knowledgeable too. She's been with Jeff 8 years. So, you know, they have a lot of knowledge together. I'm newer to the industry, but I work a lot with the people and the clients on the front end. So, between the three of us, one of us is usually available weekends, evenings, mornings, all the things. So, we start a group text, and when people need stuff, especially when it's time sensitive, someone can jump on it. So, yeah, I think our team makes us stick out. And what was your other question?
One thing you're grateful for.
Oh, one thing I'm grateful for.
Mhm.
Gosh, I'm grateful for so many things. Um, I mean, I guess to piggyback what I said, like our team is great. Jeff's a great person to work with, work for. Megan's great, and so it's just a really easy going. A lot of times, this can be a stressful um, market or world, and I think the three of us just work really well together, so it helps make stressful times a lot more bearable.
Dope, dope. I like that. I like that. Megan, let's hear from you. Why choose Revolution Mortgage, and one thing you're grateful for.
Yeah, mine's probably not as elaborate as Colleen's, but I'd say, um, kind of piggyback off of what she said, we're a little more easy to get in touch with. You go to these big banks, these big corporations, you're just a number there. It might take 3 to 4 days to get an answer, to get somebody on the phone. You could pick up the phone and literally call us, text us, call us pretty much anytime, like Colleen said, any time of the day. If you have a question, we run it past a chain to our underwriting team, if, scenario wise. So I'd say just being able to get an answer pretty quickly. Some things take time, but for the most part, you're not dealing with these big corporation, big banks where you have to run it up a chain just to get an answer on somebody. So I'd say, yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, that's very important, especially for first time buyers that are
Right.
scared, honestly. And you guys are right. Colleen, you, Jeff, all three of you guys answer my clients' questions right away. And I mean, that makes more of a difference. It even makes it better for me because now I don't have them blowing up my phone all the time because y'all able to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Right.
Yep.
appreciate that. What's one thing you're grateful for in your life?
In my life, I'd say my health and my family,
Absolutely.
always. Also beautiful weather today, so where y'all, well, I know you're in Florida, but beautiful weather. So yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
I always love hearing from you, Meg.
Yeah.
Um, Jeff, man, last one. Why choose you in the Jeff Johnson team? And one thing you're grateful for.
I mean, the girls are great, right? But we care, like, I mean, if I think if I had a kid, which I have three of them, but like when they try to buy, I would want them to go to someone that cared about the outcome and cared about the long-term plan, and that if they weren't the best at something, they would tell them where to go. And I think that, I mean, I know that's what we do because we're not the best at everything. Like I think we're the best at most, but I think there's some things and some people that come and they're like, look, what what do you think? I want to do this and I want to go with you. I'm like, well, we're not that guy. We're like, you need to call him or you need to call her. Um, and we're never going to take advantage of anybody. Like we had a guy, he had a 2.8% rate and he wanted to refi to get cash out to get 10 grand out. And we're like, why? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, 10 grand. I mean, unless you're dying and you need it, like I wouldn't do it, you know? So we care. And I mean, the girls are great and, but like, I think someone should pick who they like, every person, we're all similar in rate, we're all similar in price. It's more who you like, who's going to help you and who do you feel comfortable with, as far as what I'm thankful for is man, of course health, of course family, relationships, and I know Colleen forgot her baby. I know
Well, he meant like be thankful for like
I knew where you were going because the number one thing would have been, oh my baby, I love you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I thought
much.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting
No,
on
of
it.
course I'm thankful for my and my dog. I thought you meant like work wise.
It could be anything, big or small. It's not a right or wrong answer.
Yeah, I'm most thankful in my life for my son and my husband. And
Duh.
work family too. They come after.
I got you.
Yeah.
Jeff got it on out of you. He got it on out of you, man. That's what's up. And I'll go last. One reason I say you should choose Revolution Mortgage, just from my professional experience with them, like all three of them said, they do care. It's more than just a deal for them. They're actually hands-on. You can actually text them if you need answers, right? Email, all of those things. The line of communication is always open with these guys. I love them. And one thing I'm grateful for is meeting y'all. All three of y'all. Y'all closed my first transaction in this business, and I don't know if y'all know. I think I even told Jeff one point I was scared as heck, literally. And then I think something crazy happened right before I thought it wasn't gonna close. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? Y'all came through to the rescue at the end. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all for all of the deals that we've been closing over the years. Y'all are great. And if anybody want any of these products or services that they mentioned today, just let me know. I did create a file folder with all of these programs, a breakdown of each one of them, and an overview of how you can get started on your mortgage application. So just let me know. Send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you see me at. Send me a message and I'll get that to you. Unless it's anything else you guys want to say or do. This has been a great episode. This is Revolution Mortgage, the Jeff Johnson team. And if anybody have any questions about any real estate things, anything, let one of those guys know or let me know and we'll get you started. Until the next time, it's been a wonderful Monday. Hope y'all have a great day. Peace, love, and light to everybody life. Peace. This video is sponsored to you guys by Credit Repair Hacks. Credit Repair Hacks is one of the world's first AI digital credit repair softwares. You're able to repair your credit from your phone.